Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our new podcast. This is called The Lovecraft Report.
This is Zach,
And I'm Ryan.
and in this series, we will be discussing on how Lovecraft is still relevant in today's media based on his 7 elements of Lovecraftian horror.
These 7 elements include misanthropy, abomination, foreign and gross substances, Victorian-style writing, detachment, what remains unsaid/secret, and the fragility of the human mind.
Today, we will be looking at the elements of Lovecraft present in the movie series It, based off of the book by Stephen King. We chose this film series because we believed it would be a different perspective on what Lovecraft horror looks like in movies.
Yeah, I think not many people would consider this series as a modern-day comparison to Lovecraft. And also, we were both really familiar with this series as we have both seen the movies before. So we thought it'd be a good comparison for our first episode.
This whole movie series is based in Derry, a small town with a dark past. We see a group of friends known as the Loser Club come face to face with a monster of non-earthly origins. In the first movie, they are all just kids. This monster takes its form as a killer clown who appears every 27 years, and gets help throughout the movie from the bully known as Henry Bowers, whose sole purpose is to kill the members of the friend group. The losers survive the bully, but have a much tougher test in the clown known as Pennywise. They use the power of their unity to ultimately defeat the clown in an epic battle in the sewers. They know, however, that this will not be the end, as they make an oath to come back to Derry when the clown makes his return.
In the second movie, we see the Losers Club all grown up with their own professions and no memory of what happened when they were kids. But a mysterious call from an old friend who never left Derry puts a terrifying memory in the back of their heads of all the members of the Losers Club. This memory was strong enough to ultimately cause one of the losers to take his own life. Throughout the film, we see each member of the friend group fight his own personal demons and try to dig up the past. Each of these members find an old item, a tribute to their past, which will be needed to perform the ritual of Shood, a ritual that will ultimately kill the abomination. While the losers search for their tribute, the clown continues to inspire fear and prey on their weakness. The movie comes down to one more epic sewer battle to decide the fate of the clown. Despite the win for the losers, there was another loss for them, as another one of the members was killed by the clown. The characters now return to a normal life with the memory of their childhood and the win over the clown at the top of their minds.
Now we have a quick rundown of the 4 elements that we found present in our movies and why they were important. Our first element we selected to look at was foreign and gross substances. These are anything that would be considered unearthly and gross to the human mind. And this element adds the presence of a foreign species. We found examples of this in It because certain scenes show a sticky and gross ooze. In other scenes, when Pennywise is stabbed, his blood appears as a dark blue substance and floats to the sky, rather than falling to the ground like normal human blood. And during the reunion in the second movie, their fortune cookies begin to grow into all kinds of disgusting creatures, and there's a black ooze that floods the room they're eating in.
The second element we discovered that relates is abominations. And abominations are mysterious, unearthly creatures that have no determined origin in the world. The abominations in It is Pennywise, who is a shape-shifting clown who lives beyond the natural realm. In the movies, he takes shape of all the characters' different fears.
The third element we discovered is detachment, and this relates to the characters. These characters are usually isolated individuals from society who have some academic interests. These interests are what lead them to discoveries of the universe and Earth. And these characters are able to stop evil forces, but it usually comes with a cost. Their victory usually is not complete. And if they're not able to defeat the evil forces, this can ultimately drive them to insanity. While there are no true academic interests of any characters in It, there are 2 characters in particular who have a fascination with the past. This is Mike and this is Ben. And each of these characters struggle to understand the past and dark history of Derry. And this fascination drives them both to try and understand what is happening to them. On another note, all of these characters have individual problems that isolate them from the rest of society. And these problems are what the clown Pennywise likes to expose. Their victory at the end of the first movie comes with a cost. And that cost is that they know they will have to return to Derry to once again fight this clown and stop this evil.
Our fourth element that we discovered is what remains unsaid and secret. These are things that are unanswered in the movie and leave the protagonist in the movie confused. Examples of this in It are things like why Pennywise only attacks every 27 years and why he ended up in Derry of all places. The characters struggle to figure out what is happening to them, and they're very confused as to why and how Pennywise came to be. When comparing movies and TV shows to Lovecraft, there are a few questions that come up that need to be answered. The first one being, does the movie or TV show work around any of Lovecraft's original setup? In the movie series It, the main way that it goes around Lovecraft's ideas is because one of the main characters is black. This would be something that Lovecraft would not approve of. Although in the start of the movie, and in the first movie when they're little kids, the black main character is bullied by the main bully of the story, Henry Bowers. The next question that comes up is what about the movie doesn't fit the cosmic horror paradigm? In the movie, there are multiple parts of Lovecraftian horror that are not present, one of them being misanthropy. This is missing because the protagonists of the film are not the center of attention. Their importance to the film is the will to stop the problem. The problem in this case being the clown terrorizing their town. All of the main characters have their own problems and personalities. This goes against Lovecraftian writing because he does not tend to characterize his characters. He just leaves them with no personality.
The last of these questions is, would Lovecraft himself have approved of this movie? I believe Lovecraft would have approved of this movie because it contains many of the elements he himself used in his own stories. Despite this, we know that Lovecraft was a huge racist, and the fact that a black character is one of the main characters and a protagonist in this series we do not believe he would have liked. I do also think that this movie represents cosmic horror pretty well because the universe is used as an element to help tell the story.
We put out a poll on Twitter for questions you guys want included in episode 1. The first question that came up was, what are 2 symbols in the movie that are important? The second question is, what is an ongoing theme in the movie? And create a theme statement.
The first symbol I can think of is bicycles. The bicycles are used in the first film to represent freedom, which is something the characters need to escape their home problems. But they also symbolize unity, as many of the scenes we see the Losers Club riding their bikes together. The bikes are a good memory for members of the Losers Club, as they are one of the only happy memories of their childhood. And these happy memories overshadow the bad memories, like It the Clown, for example. Another good symbol in the films are the red balloons. These red balloons represent Pennywise and his illusions to draw children in. For children, these balloons spark curiosity, whether it's fear or happiness. For the people who have experienced it before, they know that the red balloon does not mean good. The red balloon sparks fear inside them, and most likely drives them away. But for characters who have not witnessed it yet, the balloon draws curiosity, it draws children in, so they become easy prey for him. Now, the answer to the second question. The 2 most prevalent themes in this film series I found were friendship and fear. The fear is represented in many different ways through the film series. One of those ways is how the clown uses fear. The clown uses fear to prey on his victims. A person who is not scared of the clown cannot be eaten. Fear also occurs in a different way. The characters are fearful to lose each other, and this causes them to make some irrational decisions throughout the movie. And the other big theme I discovered was friendship. Friendship plays a role throughout both movies, because as the characters discover, they are stronger together. They are stronger as one, as a unity. And without this, they know they will not be able to defeat the clown. This becomes clear in both the first movie and the second movie, as attempts to face the clown on their own only backfire. Based on these themes, I came to this conclusion. When one of the characters sacrifices their own needs for the gain of the group, the obstacles in their way can be overcome. And we see this consistently. When they put aside their own selfish ambitions and their own problems and work together as a group, they defeat the clown both times. And it was fear that would spark all these selfish ambitions, fear of losing each other and fear of the clown itself. Now, this movie is not commonly referred to when looking at Lovecraft, but we found many elements of Lovecraft present in both of these movies, so we decided to do a report on it, and this is the finished product.
We highly recommend this movie series for any of you avid horror fans.
Now join us next week on episode 2 when we go over strange similarities between Lovecraft and Stranger Things. But for now, that is all. Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed.